Ever wondered how some Etsy sellers seem to find those perfect untapped markets? What's their secret? After analyzing hundreds of successful Etsy stores, I've uncovered patterns that might surprise you and will help you to rethink how to come up with the perfect niche for you. In this video, we're going to discuss the 3 pivotal factors that can transform your Etsy store from just another shop to a standout success. And at the end of this video, I'll reveal the method that I use to come up with truly original and unique product ideas. I'm Daniel, and I've spent the last 3 years building successful 6-figure Etsy stores, all while working a full-time job as a business skills teacher at some of the biggest companies around the world. And in a lot of the coaching and shop reviews that I do, I often hear a very similar theme. Entrepreneurs come to me with a Etsy product idea, and a lot of the time it's actually a pretty good idea. But the first question that I always ask is, do you love what you're planning to sell? And weirdly enough, the answer is usually no. They've seen some YouTube video that's told them it's a good trend for them to get into, and they've decided to give it a go. But the most successful Etsy sellers don't operate like this. They dive into areas that they're passionate about. And that's really what you should consider doing too. When you do this, you're setting yourself and your business up for long-term success. For example, if you open a shop around beekeeping, but you have no interest in bees whatsoever, how motivated are you going to be in 1, 3, or 5 years from now to still continue to operate this store? Starting an Etsy shop isn't a walk in the park. It can definitely make you money, but like with any business, there will be tough times. Even the most successful sellers face these times. But having a shop focused on something that you're truly passionate about will ultimately help you to push through those tough times. You'll be more motivated and more determined because you believe in what you're doing. You're passionate about it. And by passion, I don't necessarily mean that it has to be a hobby. So it doesn't have to be like knitting or the gym, for example. It could be anything. It could be something around your work or something that you deal with on a day-to-day basis. So for example, maybe you love Microsoft Excel. Or maybe like me, you're lactose intolerant. Being lactose intolerant isn't a passion of mine, but it's something that I deal with on a day-to-day basis. I know quite a lot about it, and it means a lot to me. Okay, fine, Daniel, but what should I do now? Well, I want you to go old school. Get out a pen and paper and write down what you like doing or anything else you consider a big part of your life. And really write down everything. Ideally, you should have a list of 5 to 10 things at the end of this exercise. So for me, this would be golf, gym, gardening, cooking, teaching. I love Elton John. And my lactose intolerance. And once you've figured out what you're passionate about, the next thing you have to do is determine your expertise. This is just a fancy way of asking, do you know a lot about it? Or are you really good at it? It's great to have something that you're passionate about, but being skilled and knowledgeable in that area is something that can really set you apart. And that is something that those top Etsy sellers do really, really well. Let's take one of my passions, golf, for example. I've been playing golf all my life, so I know a lot about the trends, the latest golf news, even the insider jokes and typical golf sayings. I understand that market really well and also have a really good grasp of that community or that target audience. And that's a good thing because it means I'll be in a better position to conjure up product ideas and create a brand that is truly tailored to that target audience of golfers and ultimately offering them what they're looking for. So let's take a look at our list of passions. I want you to go through each one of them and ask yourself, if I were to be asked a question about this passion, could I give an answer right off the bat? If the answer is no, cross it out. For example, yeah, I love gardening, but if you were to ask me which soil is best for roses, yeah, I'd have absolutely no idea. So I'm passionate in it, but probably not that knowledgeable in it. So I'm going to cross it out. So once you've done this, you'll now have a list of things that you're A, passionate about, and B, you know a lot about. Now, the last piece of this puzzle is super important. Before we dive into that, if you feel like you're learning something so far, feel free to hit the little thumbs up below. And if you haven't already, I would love it if you would subscribe to my channel. I post weekly videos around Etsy. I'd love to have you along for the ride. Now, it's great to have a passion that you're skilled and really knowledgeable in, but at the end of the day, none of this matters on Etsy unless there's a market for it. Being passionate and knowledgeable about what you're selling is really important, but without a good market fit, it's not worthy of a business. And the best Etsy sellers know this. They find that sweet spot where their interests meets market viability or profitability. Now, my personal opinion is that most of the time, unless your passion is extremely niche, take underwater basket weaving, for example, there's probably a market for it. The challenge lies within finding a space within that niche that isn't overrun with competition. The goal here is to discover whether your chosen niche, or even better, little sub-niches within that, offer you opportunities that you can tap into. So we need to go into research mode, and I want you to look both on and off Etsy to get a really good understanding of what this market looks like. And let's start outside of Etsy. And I actually think this research outside of Etsy is the most important research you can do, because at the end of the day, you want to be a pioneer on Etsy. You don't want to just copy what other people are already doing on the platform. So looking outside of the platform could potentially give you some inspiration and some ideas for different things that you could maybe bring onto the platform and be a market leader in that area. So how do we do this? Well, dive into the areas where your target customer spends time. We want to understand them better, see what they like, they dislike, and talk about. Take my passion for golf, for example. Because I'm passionate about it, I already follow several golf-related brands and meme pages on Instagram. Have a look at those pages. Who's commenting on them? Who's being tagged on those posts? What conversations are happening in these communities? Are there any specific brands that you really like within this community? How popular are they? And what is it that they do differently to others? You could even explore Facebook groups, Pinterest boards, and any other forums that people use in your community. Pay attention to what people are wearing, what they're complaining about, what they wish they had in their life. When you put on this thinking cap, it can really help to spark ideas around different problems that you could solve for this community. Next, we do also want to look on Etsy. No, we don't want to copy things and trends that are already doing well on Etsy, but you do want to get a sense of what people are already looking for and what competition exists on the platform already. Now, there's different ways to do this kind of research on Etsy, but the crux of it is you just got to start browsing. You got to jump into Etsy and check out what things look like in that niche that you're researching. So we're going to start off just simply by going to Etsy and starting with a pretty general term around our niche. So let's stick with golf for now. So I'm literally just going to type in golf, see what turns up. We've got some weird Etsy ads up here. But if I scroll down a little bit, you can see here it says add by Etsy seller, add by Etsy seller. That's typically what you'll find in the first row. But then from the second row onwards, you'll typically find products, or a lot of them, that are listed as best sellers. So you know these are doing well on Etsy. These are the ones that we want to learn a little bit more about. So we can see here we've got like some custom embroidered golf towels. Got some golf stamps, ball markers, golf sweatshirt. Okay, so we've got a broad range of different golf products being sold here. I'm interested in understanding how some of these products are doing, just to get a general sense of what the market on Etsy looks like right now. So let's take this towel. Well, actually, let's take this towel here for now, for example. And if I click on that, a couple of different things we can see right off the bat. We can see it is a bestseller. which is a good sign. Etsy's recognizing that. We can also see up here at the top right that it's in demand. 5 people bought this in the last 24 hours. It's a good sign for this product. And then if you scroll all the way to the bottom, you can typically see how many times this product has actually been favorited. And we can see here it's got 3,929 favorites. It's a good sign. It means people are searching and people are buying these kind of products. And nothing against this seller. He's done very well, or they've done very well for themselves. But it's a pretty basic and simple product, right? It's a towel with embroidered initials on it. That's just an example. And you can do this without any kind of tools. Now, what I do recommend, however, I personally do this as well, is to invest in a tool, an Etsy research tool, such as eRank. So I'll show you what that looks like now. If I jump over to my eRank account over here, this actually allows you to search for different keywords to get a better understanding of what the demand looks like currently on Etsy versus what the competition looks like. So how many people are already trying to fill that market? And so let's start off just simply with golf, for example, and see what it returns us with. And we can see here right off the bat, average searches per month, we've got about 19,230, but we can see the competition marked in red. It's high, right? There's a lot of products out there that are competing for this search term golf. But the nice thing about eRank is that it also gives you suggested alternative keywords. So if we look at this list here, right, we've got golf at the top, but then we've got other additional terms, right, like golf gift, personalized golf, or what we were looking at earlier, we've got golf towel, and we can see golf towel got a pretty decent amount of searches, and we can also see the competition is a lot lower, right? There's not that many people that are looking at selling this specific type of product. So this is potentially an area that we might want to hone in on within our niche. So instead of focusing on golf products in general, why don't we start off by potentially focusing on golf towels in particular? So this is typically what I would do and what I know a lot of other sellers do to really start to hone in and get some good niche or sub-niche ideas within Etsy. Again, eRank is fairly cheap. It's worth the investment in my opinion. You can also get started without eRank. However, it will take you a little bit more time and it's a little bit more tedious in terms of doing that research on Etsy itself. If you are interested, there is a link in the description below where you can give eRank a try. Something to definitely keep in mind is that Etsy is a crowded place. There's a lot of competition. It's up to you to create your own space within that market. It's completely possible and it happens all the time. The best way of doing this is to get a really good understanding of your target customer and then honing in on a specific problem that they're hoping to have solved. Your opportunity lies in finding those little gaps. But with so many niches on Etsy feeling like they're packed to the brim, how do we stand out? That's where something called cross-pollination comes in. This is a strategy about blending and mixing different ideas and trends to come up with something original for your Etsy shop. Imagine you're making a smoothie. We've got bananas, strawberries, some coconut milk, and some protein powder. Individually, these are all delicious. Okay, except the protein powder maybe. But mix them all together into a smoothie and you've just created something even better. And guess what? Maybe I want to experiment a little, be a little risky. So maybe I decide to throw in something different, like some beets. By doing this, I'm coming up with something unique, something that not a lot of people probably have done before. This is exactly what cross-pollinating is all about. It's about combining different elements together to come up with something that's original and unique. Okay, but how do I cross-pollinate? Well, firstly, go outside your chosen niche and explore what's popular there. For example, I saw someone walk by me with a shirt similar to this one on, something that seems to be popular in like the hiking or the traveling niches. Maybe I could use this as inspiration to create some designs targeted towards my golf audience. You could also experiment with combining some of your passions and interests. Go back to that list you made and have a look if there's any trends or design styles in one niche that you might think could be popular in your chosen niche. For example, maybe I know that in the gardening niche, a lot of people are really interested in sustainable or eco-friendly materials and products. Well, maybe there's also an audience that's interested in this within the golf community. And also have a look at what is selling around the world, not just in your specific region. For example, as I'm passionate and knowledgeable about the golf market, I know that women's golf in particular is getting more and more popular in the US, but hasn't quite caught on as much in the UK yet. It's on the rise though, but not quite at the level as it has in the US. Okay, so maybe we want to focus on women's golf in particular. And having a look back at our research that we did around golf towels, why don't we maybe think about creating a range of golf towels specifically targeting female golfers? It's just an idea, but this is the kind of thought process that I want you to go through when trying to come up with original and unique ideas. Ultimately, I want you to keep in mind that in order for you to come up with something that's unique and original, you have to take a risk. You need to experiment with different design ideas that maybe haven't been tested or tried on Etsy before. And that's exactly what the best of the best do. They're creating trends and ideas rather than following them. Now, if you're interested in learning more about these niche ideas and more examples of what this could look like in practice, then let's go and check this video out next. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.